And a showdown in Oregon as President Trump orders National Guard troops into Portland to protect ICE facilities and other federal property. Welcome to a brand new hour of America's Newsroom. I'm Dana Perino for Hour 2.
Yes, Hour 2. Hour 1 is down, and we're waiting a ton of headlines that are going to be rolling out today. So you got hundreds of people gathering outside an ICE building yesterday in Portland, Oregon. Riots have been taking place in recent months, such as this, as you might recall.
Well, Oregon officials, though, pushing back against Trump's plans. The state announcing a lawsuit against the troop deployment as the governor claims they are not needed.
There is no insurrection. There is no threat to national security. And there is no need for military troops in our major city. President Trump's inconceivable insistence that we need federal troops in Portland does not address the real concerns in our communities.
So let's get to Chief Correspondent Jonathan Hunt reporting now on the West Coast. Good morning, Jonathan.
Good morning to you, Bill. There is no word yet on when the troops the president has called for will arrive in Portland, but the protesters are already there in numbers. Hundreds showing up outside the city's ICE facility last night to make clear their anger at the idea that troops are, as President Trump said over the weekend, needed to protect ICE facilities from what he labeled domestic terrorists in a city he called, quote, war-ravaged Portland. There was little confrontation last night with large numbers of federal agents deployed to face down the protesters and to escort vehicles in and out of the facility. 2 arrests were made. Officials in Oregon have filed a lawsuit to stop the troop deployment, saying it breaches the Constitution and could in fact cause rather than prevent violence.
The president's actions today only serve to further divide us as a nation, as a community, under the guise of caring about public safety.
When the president and I spoke yesterday, I told him in very plain language that there is no insurrection or threat to public safety that necessitates military intervention in Portland or any other city in our state.
Now, some residents, meantime, used the hashtag war-ravaged Portland to mock the president's words, posting what they said were pictures and video of bustling Portland restaurants, bike paths, and farmers markets over the weekend. But these are the scenes that President Trump is referencing, regular protests that have been taking place outside federal facilities in Portland for months now, and which have on several occasions become violent, as you see right there. Some 24 people have been arrested since those protests started in June, some of them charged with assaulting federal officers. Now, the president says those protests, Bill, are a symbol of what Portland has become over the past few years, what he calls a hotbed of insurrection.
So we'll see what happens next. Thank you, Jonathan. Nice to see you in Los Angeles there. Thanks, Dana.
More on this with Kayleigh McEnany, host of Saturday in America. She's a co-host of Outnumbered as well. Here's from the Oregon State's lawsuit against the Trump administration. Far from promoting public safety, defendants' provocative and arbitrary actions threaten to undermine public safety by inciting a public outcry. Is that their best argument against this?
Look, they're going to say, and they do say in that lawsuit, we have the police power. That's in the Constitution. That is true. Congress also has the power to stop an insurrection and call up the militia. They delegated part of that power to the President of the United States via the Insurrection Act. So I think the White House is going to say, we're dealing with rebellion here in Portland. There are 26 examples of individuals who have been arrested for federal crimes pertaining to ICE protests or protests in and around Portland recently. They're going to make that argument. You remember Gavin Newsom made that argument. Yeah. It was upheld. They sided with Newsom at the federal level, the district court level, and then it was overturned by the Ninth Circuit. Ultimately, the Trump administration prevailing. We'll see what happens here.
So in Portland, based on my understanding, that it's confined to a few city blocks in downtown Portland, doesn't really spill over to other neighborhoods, et cetera, and we'll see what happens next. In Chicago, meanwhile, you've got what the governor and the mayor there believe are federal troops in downtown. Here we go on X. Over the weekend, Mayor Johnson wrote this. He said, while Chicagoans and visitors are enjoying another gorgeous Sunday, they're being intimidated and threatened by masked federal agents flaunting automatic weapons for no apparent reason. This is another brazen provocation for the Trump administration that does nothing to make our city safer. We went in the Wayback Machine. We watched your briefing, got the transcript from the summer of 2020. when Portland was hot on fire, and there were a lot of questions to you about federal forces versus the National Guard.
Yep.
How do you see Trump 2.0 either deploying National Guard troops versus federal troops, and why is the distinction important?
It's very important. So the National Guard is what we're looking at in Portland, and I cited the Insurrection Act, and there's some legal questions that will get litigated. President Trump's on very strong footing in a place like Chicago, where there's an ICE facility. When I was press secretary, I gave the authority to the press corps, 40 U.S.C. Code 1315, and it allows you to deploy federal assets, federal law enforcement to protect federal property, like what you're seeing in Chicago with that ICE facility. You know, when I was there, Portland was a hub of violence. They were throwing pig's feet at officers, literal pig's feet, feces. They were trying to light a courthouse on fire. Federal agents were there. President Trump is absolutely within his right to say, I'm protecting federal property. That's what he did in Portland in 2020. It's what he's doing in Chicago now.
Okay.
On your new show on Saturday, you had a chance to interview someone that we've long admired from afar, and that's Samantha Ponder. And you were talking to her about the social media response about Charlie Kirk's assassination. Watch here.
There are going to be people who disagree, but we have to keep talking and seeing the way that Charlie lived. You don't have to agree with every argument. I don't even agree with every argument I've made, okay? We're not going to agree on every argument. But the point is that we got to get out in the public square. We got to talk more and not in little short clips. We got to have real conversations with real people that we disagree with and give space for understanding. Like, that cannot die with Charlie.
It's a great message. Are we having an impact?
Yeah, I think, look, Sam Ponder, what an amazing woman of faith, was very bold about her viewpoints while at ESPN, and she's being bold now. But she made a really good point. She said her dad was the coach of the Palestinian national basketball team, was also the coach of the Israeli football team. And she said it's so important we have this dialogue with one another and we don't stop talking to one another. She said the algorithms on social media program us to see two different Americas. You see one America if you're a Charlie Kirk supporting conservative. You see a different America if you're on these places like Blue Sky where there's a lot of violent and hateful rhetoric. So the bottom line is we've got to talk, and it was a great message she put forward. And it's Charlie Kirk's legacy.
Yeah. Good stuff, Kayleigh. See you at noon?
Yes,
Good
at
deal.
noon.
Happy Monday to you.
Thank you.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.